This is an aerial shot from 1971 showing the what the Squamish River estuary looked like at that time. Even the training dike is not put in. You can see the start of the construction of the Squamish Deep Sea Port, the Squamish terminals. When this port was put in, they brought the rail access through one section of the estuary, and then they brought the road through another one. That coupled with the existing diking system for the village of Squamish, it ended up forming this triangle which isolated a section of the estuary, which, you know, its only means of seawater exchange was this tiny little bridge that was constructed over the roadway. But when high tides came in, it was too much for this little bridge, and it wiped it out. This is normally an intertidal section of the estuary. It was supposed to remain that way. So they needed a solution to safeguard this bridge, so they decided to put in a floodgate. Now, there was a lot of talk about the floodgate. A lot of people didn't like it. They were very suspicious of it going in. But the District of Squamish reassured everybody that this floodgate would only be used 5 times a year. Yes, only 5 times a year. And that if there was any type of habitat change at any time, you know, they would look into it and address it accordingly. So we ended up getting this floodgate. And this is what it looks like today during high tide. And you can see on the far side, there's the bridge pond area. Most of the land base is completely dry. Normally would be covered in seawater. These gates, actually, 2 out of 3 were not working for the almost last year. They fixed those just last week. So here we have something that was built over 30 years ago with assurances that it would only be used 5 times a year, and now it's used every day. And it's quite effective at keeping the seawater from flooding the areas in there that normally would be flooded, making this a very productive community for the fish. It started coming to my attention more when there was a diesel spill from a CN train, and it was the official stance from the District of Squamish I took note of. They said that the diesel spill happened in the bridge pond area, which is great because it's a non-tidal area. I went, wow. All of a sudden it's now a non-tidal area. 30 years later, it's a non-tidal area. My. So here's a Catamount Slough. Again, tides in. There's the Great Chief in the background. And on the other side of the road, it should also be flooded at this time. But it's not. As you can see, it's dry, very dry looking grass field. This is what the area looked like in the 60s before this all went in. If you have a good look at the color of the vegetation, you can see everything is very consistent. That ring of trees to the right, that's the Village of Squamish diking system at the time. But now today you can see this triangle, it's very brown. There's obviously been some big habitat changes here. There's, nobody can argue that. When the tide comes in, that triangle does not receive the seawater that normally it would receive. It's incredible that we've gone from using it 5 days a year to this situation today. People actually feel so safe in there that some squatters moved in, set up house, because they felt very safe, and there wasn't going to be any seawater coming in. So it's effectively turned into a freshwater environment. There's more trees growing, more alder trees are moving in. I would say that eventually this area was probably going to get forested over if nothing's done soon. You can see the trees on your left here in this photo. And it seems to be, the process seems to be speeding up quite a lot. I mean, there is some seawater that's allowed in, but it's never allowed to cover the area, which normally it naturally does. When the tide's out, the only water it receives is a fresh water supply from a drainage system off the street system of Squamish through the sewer system, the street sewer system. The water quality is extremely poor. In the summertime, the turbidity level, it's so bad in the summer. The water quality is so bad that blankets of green algae, carpets of green algae will start to grow. Um, I'm thinking that probably dissolved oxygen levels get so low in there that a dead zone effectively happens. Um, you can even see it from Google Earth. If you Google Earth down to this area, you'll see the high turbidity level in that area.